Hello, I'm Judith Needham. I'm a bit of a maker as well. My thing is Willow. I'm a basket maker, but I feel somehow drawn to make big stuff. The bigger the better, really. And if it's something that is big enough for me to get into, that's really what I'm aiming for. So it started when my daughter was 2, with the idea of getting her a playhouse. And this was the sort of inspiration, really. There was no way I was going to have a big lump of plastic, particularly pink, in my garden. I'm quite a keen gardener. But I was also very aware that for a child, a playhouse is a temporary phase. They move on, and I didn't want, after a few years, to be going down to the tip with a bit of plastic. So I thought I'd make one. I'd done a bit of basketry. So this is the first one which I made. It's willow and actually a bit of hazel in this one. And the thinking right from the start was, I want something where there's nothing to throw away at the end when we're finished with it. So willow, if you have a basket indoors, it lasts, for millennia. Outside, what happens is the rain, the sun, it gets brittle. So the bark starts to mottle, it becomes brittle. And it's still there, but after about 5 years, it's looking a bit scruffy. But that ties in really well. If you buy a child a playhouse at 2, they're bored with it by 7. So it fits nicely. And I like the idea of making a product that was, coming from the ground. Willow is, almost the ultimate sustainable material. You cut it down every year, it shoots up again, gives you another load of material to work with. So I like the idea of that. And the initial one I just made for us, not thinking at all of selling them, but lots of people said, you should be selling these. So I refined the design a bit, and I looked at the market, and people spend money on kids. People with lots of money spend lots of money on kids. It's amazing what's out there. The next slide is a Tudor 2-story playhouse, which is available for 35 grand. I found a website where there is a add to my shopping cart button. 35 grand, ping, you can have it. So I reckoned that there was room in the market for something a little bit more modestly priced. I've been selling them for about 4 years now, and it's going pretty well. I can't make that many, so I don't want to sell too many. And I think generally my customers, they buy into the whole idea of it's a temporary product. It's come from the ground. It's going back to the ground. They like that. But increasingly, I'm getting requests from grown-ups who feel that the playhouses are really too good for kids, and they would like somewhere to go and escape from their kids, probably, read the Sunday papers, have a glass of wine on a summer evening, which is great. So I'm making more sort of anonymous shapes, playhouses that don't look like Wendy houses, that could be suitable for grown-ups. But of course, if an adult buys one for themselves, they haven't got this sort of 5-year window when they're going to grow out of it. They like it in their garden, they want to keep it forever. And forever is, obviously what I can't give them, and it isn't the philosophy behind the product from the beginning. So I've got a whole range of different playhouses and I'm calling them dens now to suit the adult market. So I'm starting more and more to think about how to approach the customer, the potential customer who comes along and says, well, why doesn't it last? Can't you make it last? Can't you? And obviously I could paint it with toxic paint and wood preserver, but then it would defeat the original object of going back into the ground. So I've been thinking about the work of Andy Goldsworthy, where the art that he makes is very much temporary, and the actual product, if you like, is the photograph of it. So I'm trying to start to say to people, well, what you're buying is the memories of your children playing in it, the photographs which you've got to keep forever of your kids looking sweet in the playhouses. And, I feel I'm getting there with most people. And it's an ongoing issue that I will always have, I think. But the other related issue for me is, what about my job satisfaction, if you like? I'm making things that then, they don't blow up, fortunately, but not usually, but they don't last forever. So, these take a long time to make. One of these double-spired ones takes me about 3 weeks. So I'm doing all this work, and it's not going to be there forever. But, that's no different to many people in sort of paper-pushing, pen-pushing jobs where, it all seems terribly important at the time, but then what is their lasting into the future. So that's just something again that I need to live with. But obviously, one solution for me with Willow is that you can plant it. You can weave with it planted, so it's living. You're making living sculptures, which then are there forever. But it's a very different situation. So rather than walking away and knowing that it's going to gradually decompose and disappear and leave no footprint, you've got the fact that it's going to grow and change. This one is not one of mine, but some inspiration for me. It's a cathedral in Germany. I don't know if you can see the size of the people. They're right down here, that high. It's huge, absolutely huge, and they have concerts in there, and it's all living, so it all greens up in the summer. This is my smaller scale experiment with it, trying to do densely woven, so like a basket, but it's living, so it shoots out in between the weaving. But as I say, it starts to become out of my control once I leave it, which is interesting, and to some extent it's under the control of the customer. They can prune it and change it, but it's a whole new thing really. So I'm doing that, and I'm also I think the last slide is showing where I'm going smaller as well. So I'm thinking about making playhouses. Here's one, a wigwam, small enough for people to keep inside, so then it does last forever. So that's the sort of other approach to solving this dilemma that I've got. So watch this space.